What does it truly mean to be rich? Is it the weight of gold locked away in safes, the shimmer of diamonds, or the number of cars lined up like jewels on a driveway? Or could richness be something else, something that cannot be counted but only felt? In Manila, where skyscrapers rise beside shanties, lived a boy who carried the title that many envied, the richest Filipino boy. His name was Miguel Santos, the only son of a tycoon whose empire stretched across banks, hotels, and towering real estate. Miguel's world was painted in gold. He had a bedroom larger than most families' homes, shelves stacked with toys that had never been touched, and clothes stitched by the finest designers. From the outside, he was the boy who had everything. But behind those heavy gates, Miguel's life felt strangely empty. The laughter of other children never reached his ears. His friends were bodyguards who stood too far away, and tutors who were paid to smile. His days were scheduled, polished, and silent. And though his home echoed with wealth, it lacked the one sound he longed for, most genuine belonging. At night, when the world outside quieted, Miguel would sit by his window with a guitar in his hands. It was old and scratched, a gift from his late grandfather. Each note he played carried pieces of his heart, filling the emptiness money could never touch. Music was the one thing no price tag could define. Yet the world only saw him as the rich boy. They never saw the boy who felt unseen, unheard, and unmeasured by the weight of his voice. And so the question rises, what happens when a boy who seems to have it all stands before the world? Not to show his wealth, but to reveal his soul. That question would soon be answered on the world's most watched stage where millions expected a rich child's arrogance, but instead witnessed something that money could never buy. In the heart of the Santos mansion, marble floors gleamed, chandeliers sparkled, and paintings worth fortunes watched silently from the walls. But for Miguel, none of these treasures felt alive. His footsteps often echoed in long corridors, reminding him how empty grand spaces could feel. Amidst this world of luxury, Miguel carried a secret that kept him breathing: music. While other boys his age played in crowded streets, he sat quietly in his room, strumming the strings of an old guitar. It wasn't new, nor expensive. The wood was worn, the strings had been replaced countless times. Yet in his hands it became something extraordinary and escape. A language, a lifeline. His mother, Isabella Santos, understood. She was gentle, graceful, a woman who once dreamed of being a singer herself before life placed her in the shadow of her husband's empire. She would sometimes pause outside Miguel's door, listening, her eyes filling with tears at the depth in her son's music. She knew his heart belonged not to wealth but to song. His father, Don Eduardo Santos, saw things differently. A man of power and discipline, he believed Miguel's destiny was already written to inherit the empire, to wear the crown of responsibility. Singing in his eyes was a distraction and indulgence unworthy of a future heir. To him, music could never build towers or expand businesses. And so, Miguel's passion remained a secret world he shared with no one but his mother and the stars above his window. Each night he would play quietly, almost whispering through his guitar as if afraid the walls of the mansion might betray him. The boy who seemed to possess everything yearned for something far greater: freedom. Not freedom from riches, but freedom to express the part of him that was real. In his heart, a silent dream grew. One day he would sing before a crowd, not paid to listen but willing to hear. One day he would step into a place where wealth meant nothing, and only the truth in his voice mattered. That day was closer than he ever imagined. The night was electric, the kind of night when dreams were born and shattered under blinding lights. Across the world, millions of eyes were fixed on a single stage, the stage of America's Got Talent. For most contestants, it was a chance to be discovered. For Miguel, it was something deeper. It was a chance to be seen for who he truly was, not for the fortune his name carried. Backstage, whispers floated around him. Some sneered, expecting arrogance, expecting another spoiled child chasing the spotlight. Others were simply curious, waiting to see if wealth could truly sing. When his name was called, Miguel stepped onto the stage. The audience stirred, eyes narrowing, phones raised. The judges glanced at one another, intrigued but skeptical. The silence was heavy, and then, the first strum of his guitar broke through. The familiar chords of Hotel California floated into the arena, soft yet steady. His voice followed, rich, raw, trembling with emotion. It wasn't the voice of a boy born in luxury. It was the voice of a soul carrying loneliness, hope, and a longing to connect. The crowd grew still. Conversations stopped. Simon Cowell leaned forward, his stern expression softening as each lyric spilled from Miguel's heart. The other judges sat frozen, listening not to a rich boy's performance, but to a young man bearing his truth. As the song built, Miguel's voice soared higher, breaking through walls of judgment, dissolving the image of privilege, leaving only vulnerability. The boy who had once been unseen was now holding thousands captive, with nothing but his heart and song. When the final note lingered in the air, silence filled the room again, of indifference, but of reverence. And in that silence, Miguel realized he had finally been heard. For a heartbeat, the arena was silent. No one moved, no one breathed, as if the entire world needed a moment to absorb what had just happened. A boy, draped in privilege, yet stripped down to vulnerability, had sung not as a millionaire's heir but as a human being aching to be understood. Then, the silence shattered. The audience rose to their feet in a thunderous wave of applause, their cheers crashing through the theater like a storm. Tears glistened on faces in the crowd. Some clapped with trembling hands, others shouted his name, but all of them knew they had witnessed something unforgettable. On the judges' table, eyes told stories words could not. One judge pressed her hand against her chest, visibly moved. Another wiped away tears, caught off guard by the depth of feeling from a boy they had underestimated. And then there was Simon Cowell, the man known for his unshakable composure, leaning back slowly, his eyes wet. His hand hovered over the golden button, the one every contestant dreamed of but few ever reached. The golden buzzer was not simply approval, it was transformation. And with a decisive slam, Simon pressed it. The sound echoed like a thunderclap, followed by the sudden eruption of golden confetti raining from above. The stage was bathed in shimmering light, wrapping Miguel in a moment that was bigger than wealth, bigger than fame. Miguel fell to his knees, tears pouring freely, his guitar still clutched in his hands. For the first time, he was not crying from loneliness but from release, the release of being accepted, not for what he owned but for who he was. The audience cheered louder, their voices carrying him higher than any luxury ever could. His mother, watching from the side, covered her face as tears streamed down, whispering a silent thank you for this miracle. Even in the distance, his father's stern image flickered in Miguel's mind, perhaps now softened, perhaps now beginning to understand. It was in that moment, beneath a shower of gold, that Miguel Santos ceased to be the richest boy. He became something far greater, the boy who gave his heart to the world, and the world embraced it back. When the lights dimmed and the confetti settled, the moment did not end. It lived on, replayed in the hearts of those who witnessed it, carried across screens into millions of homes around the world. The boy once known only for his wealth was now known for something purer, his voice, his courage, his truth.